It's unclear yet if Congress will act on immigration reform, but it is a lively subject, especially here in Arizona, and it's one many from all spectrums are watching.
I have a mixed status family. I'm illegal, my mother's illegal. I have two younger siblings, they're US citizens. I mean, just to tear apart the family it's really sad and it's unfair, you know?
We just want to protect our families and keep all families together.
From dreamers to the boots on the ground.
The assaults on agents are definitely up.
That's a problem for you.
It's a huge problem.
A look at the status of immigration in the state. This is Arizona Week. It's up for debate. Is the border secure? Many times it depends on whom you ask. But what do the men and women who patrol the desert say about the rugged terrain between Arizona and Mexico? Here is Art Del Cueto, president of the local 2544 National Border Patrol Council, the union in southern Arizona. Is the border secure to you?
I think we've taken steps where we're trying to secure it better than it was before. But is it completely secure? By no means. I don't believe it's close to secure. Obviously, we've seen a raise in violence on the south end of where we work. And that's directly where we work. So that constantly trickles in. Currently, the numbers show that perhaps the amount of apprehensions that we get might be lower, but we're still in the top when it comes to drug seizures. In fact, one interesting fact and number that we have is that the Tucson sector alone is responsible for 60% of all the drug seizures in the entire country.
You talk about seizures going up. That means something that you guys are doing is working. What is that? Is it more infrastructure, more agents?
We did receive more agents. What a lot of people don't understand is, although we have more agents, the agency grew at a tremendous amount. So we did bring in more agents. But other agencies did not grow to that effect. So what we find ourselves doing is farming out a lot of our agents out to other agencies. Agencies covering prosecutions, covering DEA. You find some of our agents working at the port of entries because those agencies didn't grow as fast. So it's interesting because on paper, you see that we do have more agents, but they're not out there doing the agent work. They haven't farmed out to other agencies, assisting other agencies. And that's where the issue is.
Let's talk about safety in the face of budget cuts. Is the agency doing more to make your job safer?
Well, as far as safety, with less money, there's less maintenance for the vehicles. Stuff breaks. It's going to be a little bit more difficult to fix. So when it comes to safety, I mean, the budget just affects everything. It affects all around, everything.
There are some communities here in southern Arizona that saw a lot of infrastructure and maybe in some cases sealed off the border when you talk about what the geography looks like. But there are those critics who say it just pushed the traffic outward and created a whole new ball of wax, new problems.
Right.
How do you respond to that?
I believe they're taking the right steps when it comes to blocking certain areas. But we're realists. I mean, at least I'm a realist, and I understand their process and their thinking behind wanting to do stuff like that. The area that most people see are the ports of entries and the surrounding areas in the cities. So you go at steps to block that off, and it gives the public persona the image of, hey, it's secure now, it's settled. But if you just travel 3 more miles out, you'll see how bad the area is and the way the fence is set up, and where some of these agents are working in certain spots, even on the reservation here nearby, where there is no fence. So, I mean, that has increased. The violence has increased. And I've said it before, so when I first started, we used to catch groups and they were arrested and they were done. Now we're getting more and more that every group we catch, it's a struggle, it's a fight. I mean, we're in more remote areas now where these big groups are crossing. So it's been more dangerous to the agents, I would say.
Are assaults on agents up?
The assaults on agents are definitely up.
That's definitely a problem for you.
It's a huge problem. It's a huge problem because with assaults being up, the agent's in a position where he has to defend himself. And this agency, as an agent, you defend yourself, and it's scrutinized tremendously, especially with all the political pressure, speaking about amnesty and everything else. It's the agent himself is put in a small box where everyone's looking at him when one of these incidents occurs.
What do the people in Washington need to know about what's happening, ground zero, the border, along Arizona, Mexico?
I think they need to come out here and actually take a trip. I have an open invitation for every single politician that wants to know. He can come down. I will personally, take him down to the border and show him the areas and show him where we actually work. They come down here and they speak to the higher ups that they work with in Washington. So I guess they arrange their trip amongst themselves in Washington. They come down here, they have their dog and pony show at the ports of entries and half a mile east and half a mile west of the port of entry, but they don't show them the real area. I mean, that's the thing. Come out here, actually look at it. I think we have a couple politicians here that actually do know and understand the danger, and they've seen it. I've taken trips with a couple of them and shown them. I think that makes a difference. It's more of an eye opener. I can fix all kinds of problems from thousands of miles away, but when you're actually there, you realize what the actual issues are.
You're from Mexico. You work in the U.S., you work along the border. How will you know when the system is getting fixed?
See, I think that's an added plus. You mentioned I'm from Mexico. I'm from here. I was born in Mexico. I mean, it is what it is. I'm a citizen because my parents were citizens. I was born outside the country. But I think that's the big issue. You were in this country, and you have to show an allegiance to the country that gives you what you have. And I think that's where a lot of the problems come as far as the amnesty issues and stuff like that. That you have people that come to this country, yet they're not willing to break those ties from their country of origin. And I think that's the major problem. You got to have gratitude toward the country where you're at. Yes, I was born there, but by all means, this is where I grew up. This is the country that's given me everything. I owe my allegiance to only one country, and that's the United States of America.
About a month after his confirmation by the U.S. Senate, the Secretary of Homeland Security, Jay Johnson, visited Arizona. Arizona Public Media's Fernanda Echavarri brings us this report.
All right, thanks, everyone. The Secretary's going to make some brief remarks, and we'll throw it over for just a couple questions.
Secretary of Homeland Security Jay Johnson held a brief press conference at the Border Patrol headquarters in Tucson after his first visit to Arizona this week. He says he plans to make the southwestern border a priority.
I know that we have, over the last several years, devoted considerable resources to border security in this part of the country, which are being used very effectively, but there continues to be work to do on the southwest border.
Johnson spent time at the border in Douglas and toured the area with Congressman Ron Barber, visiting ranchers, talking to border mayors and local law enforcement.
I was pleased to hear from the ranchers, from local law enforcement, that they are impressed with the level of cooperation between them and the federal government here, between them and our border security professionals here.
Some of those ranchers living along the border with Mexico are concerned with more than the law enforcement side of border security.
The people who we spoke to talked about the incredible negative economic impact that a border that's not secure has on their work, on their ranches, on their homes, on their land. And the mayor of Douglas and the mayor of Sierra Vista also spoke about the economic impact of not having a port of entry that's modern, that is properly staffed.
When asked what he saw as the biggest challenge in this region, Johnson did not mention specifics.
The challenges evolve. The challenges migrate, and so we've got to be vigilant. We've got to be agile in response to those challenges, and that's something that I want to encourage CBP personnel here to do.
Johnson will also ask the Border Patrol to keep rural areas in mind.
The ranchers operate, for the most part, in the rural areas of the state. They make the very valid point that if we put resources in the towns, the border security threat will migrate to the more rural areas.
President Barack Obama deported a record high number of people last year, and Johnson said perhaps that is not the best approach.
We need to focus on the quality of our efforts, not necessarily the quantity by itself. I think we need to focus our removal resources on threats to national security, threats to public safety, threats to border security, which can come in a variety of forms that could focus on large volumes of border crossings, but not necessarily.
Moving forward, Johnson wants to see an increase in accountability and transparency when it comes to use of force by Border Patrol agents. For Arizona Week, I'm Fernanda Echavarri.
And now the story of Sandra Lopez, an undocumented immigrant brought to the U.S. as a child. Sandra was on track to enroll in college when she was arrested and spent 3 years in an immigration jail. You were arrested at the age of 19. What led to that arrest?
What led to that arrest was that I had a good friend of mine, and he asked me to mail a box for him. And obviously I didn't know what contained the box. I just went and took it to FedEx and mailed it. The box did contain narcotics, and I was charged with it.
Now, you were a recent graduate of Amphitheater High School here in the Tucson area, so you didn't have any previous run-ins with the law before then.
No, ma'am.
Talk about what happened next.
After that, I found myself in the criminal proceedings of having to mail a box with narcotics, which wasn't mine. And obviously I took the wrong choice, of trusting a friend and doing him a favor. While I was in county, I was there for 6 months while I was convicted of the crime. After that, I was taken by immigration enforcement and taken to Eloy facility.
Did you know that you were born in Mexico and that you did not have status here in the United States?
Yes, I did.
You did. You were eventually transported to Nogales. You were deported.
Yes.
What happened in Nogales, Sonora?
In Nogales, Sonora, when I got dropped off by the U.S. enforcement, I didn't know where to go. I didn't know anybody. I've really never been there. I was just born in Obregon, Sonora, and my mother brought me as a child. I didn't know where to go. The U.S. enforcement didn't tell me that that Mexican officials would help me and help me find a shelter or something like that. I did try finding help, but it didn't work out the way I thought it would. I slept in the train tracks of Mexico. I roamed the streets of it, trying to look for help. There was a group of women that would try to lure me into prostitution, just went away again, I was always looking for help, and I didn't. And I slept by the train tracks because I saw nobody was there. I guess I felt safe, just hidden. And it was the worst experience I've ever had, honestly. The last day before I came for help to the U.S. enforcement, I was walking, trying to look for help, and there was a man that he grabbed my hand, and he had a blade in his hand, and he tried to assault me. And I swung my hand, and I ran up the lane of the traffic, and I saw the U.S. enforcement and asked for help.
And they eventually brought you to the U.S. You were charged, though, for trying to re-enter the country. That's when you were transported to Eloy.
Yes. Well, the bad part is I was transferred to Florence facility, and I was charged with illegal re-entry. But I think they made a big mistake because I was asking for help, right? I was asking for help. They told me I would get the help. At the time, I didn't know about asylum. I didn't know anything about that. But I was asking for help, and I guess that would fall into being an asylum claim, and they never gave me the help I needed. And I was incarcerated in Florence for 5 months.
5 months in Florence.
Just for illegal re-entry when I asked for help.
And then another 2.5 in Eloy.
Yes.
You lived some of the better part of your years as a young woman in prison.
Yes, ma'am.
What was that like?
It was really hard. It's hard, just to be incarcerated with a lot of people that, honestly, there was more illegals than, really criminals. And I don't think that they should keep us that long incarcerated just for coming back. Most of the people that come back, like me, is for help. Not because we want to, not because, we needed help. And in the U.S. enforcement really is they're good at it, they're helping us. But right there, lately, I think they have been kind of messing up because they haven't helped us and they just deport us again. And to be in the incarcerated, it's really hard. You see a lot of things. They have you do a lot of things you don't want to do. You get yelled at, you get nasty food, lockdowns. You know, you're depressed, and you see a lot of things that really mess with your mind, and it's hard. It's hard to be in there, honestly.
3 years of your life in a federal facility. You were released in November, right before the holidays.
Awesome, yes, thank God.
What was that experience like, stepping out into free earth and being with your family, your mom, your dad, your brothers, sisters?
It was a blessing, you know. I still can't believe it right now. I mean, I've been out for 2 months. It's hard to believe it, and it's a blessing, and I'm still struggling, but it's a blessing because I'm with my family again, and I have my brothers and sisters. I have my uncle that's really helping me out and providing for me.
For some people, getting out of a prison facility is a huge transition, but you enrolled as a student at Maricopa Community College in Phoenix, and you're now considered a dreamer.
Yes.
While you continue to fight your deportation. Talk about what the next steps are for you.
Well, the next steps for me, it was really hard to get into college, you know, because I don't have DACA. I can't apply for DACA yet and qualify. So it's hard for me, but thank God I made it. I'm enrolled now. I start college next week, and I'm happy, you know. I'm a fighter, and I'm here to keep fighting until it's over with, and I'm enrolled in college now, finally.
You're a fighter. You have plans for a future. What has given you that strength to keep moving forward?
God, first of all. God has given me that strength, and just me wanting to do what I want to do and be what I want to be, and pursuing my career and being a psychologist or a nurse.
As you know, you're very well educated on the issue. There are people out there who perhaps blame your parents for bringing you here and living your life here. What do you say to those people who are watching this and wondering what led your parents to do this? What gives you the drive to keep going and to fight for residency, for an education?
I don't think they should blame the parents. I mean, it depends on everybody's own situation and what they were going through at that time. Yeah, obviously a lot of people try to find a better future, especially for their kids' best interest, right? I think that there should be more help for the parents too, not just putting them down like, oh, it's your parents' fault. I think they also should be included. There's a lot of families that, like mine, I have a mixed status family. I'm illegal, my mother's illegal. I have 2 younger siblings, they're US citizens. I mean, just to tear apart the family it's really sad, and it's unfair, you know? And I know there's thousands of families like that, mixed status.
Sandra, you plan to keep fighting, regardless of what happens?
Regardless, I'm keep fighting, yes.
Okay, Sandra Lopez, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me, Lorraine.
Sandra is pursuing her education under President Obama's deferred deportation program. And now the story of another dreamer, Jessica Garcia, brought to the U.S. at the age of 13. She's currently enrolled at Pima Community College.
On the first 2 years, I can say that I wanted to go back to Mexico because that was the plan for everyone. Just come, learn English, finish your education, and then go back. And then I started noticing that I wanted to stay, that I wanted to continue my education. I wanted to do something here. Mexico, we know that it's not a safe place. More when you're a woman and then you're trying to get an education, it's still there's a little bit of machismo on that side. So I knew that it wasn't going to be that easy, so I decided to stay here.
How important is education to you and for your family to watch you get your education?
That was the first thing. That our only goal was like to get an education. Like everything else can wait. Like they just want us to be successful, and having an education is part of it.
Jessica, there are people out there who don't agree with the reasons why your parents brought you to the U.S. at such a young age. What do you say to those people?
I cannot speak for my mom, but I can see that for her actions, she just wanted us to have a better living. It's pretty obvious what's going on in Mexico with the narcos and the drug cartels and all that. And as a woman, and my mom as being as a female role for us, it's like, I don't want you to be there. And she brought us over here, and as well as it's not the same opportunity having it here than having it in Mexico. In Mexico, you still, even though can be really good at everything, and you will have everything, there's a system that you gotta play with, and sometimes it can be a dirty system that you don't want to be at. So that was also one of the reasons why I decided to stay. And my mom probably brought us in.
What is your immigration status right now?
As of now, I have a deferred action for childhood arrivals, and it's a work permit.
What does the government need to do to help students like you?
It can be up to any state what they can do with it. With the deferred action for childhood arrivals, I can say that that's not a solution. I'm not grateful for it because that took a long-term work. But sometimes it's only good for 2 years, and we know in Arizona it's not good. It's only to work. There's still a lot of limits, and one of them is education, and the other one's the right to drive or have a state ID.
What do you want government officials to know about people like you, those dreamers out there?
We just want to protect our families and keep our families together.
You said your father's in Mexico.
Yes.
Is that hard for your family, knowing that he's over there and you all are here?
Yes. So we don't get to see him every day. We don't call him. It's not that we can be on the phone every single day, every single hour. So in that sense, we can say that we don't have that figure next to us.
Do you wish things were different?
Yes. It would be so better if we were able to go and see him and not taking the risk of him coming here and seeing that there must be a problem when he's trying to cross the line. He can come in. It's just that sometimes can be why he's traveling a lot and who's over there, who are you visiting so much, and then those questions that can lead into finding out that his family is living in the U.S.
What are your future plans?
To continue my education, I'm trying to come to the University of Arizona and then trying to get into that other college and then continue that.
What are your long-term goals? Do you want to stay in the U.S.? Do you want to return to Mexico?
I want to stay in the U.S., probably own my own business, work for a nonprofit to continue with the nonprofits and also local businesses.
We've been talking about immigration because it will be the subject of next week's Independent Lens. It's titled State of Arizona. Here's a preview of next week's episode.
SB 1070 is going to allow every police agency of the state of Arizona to do what Sheriff Joe Arpaio has been doing here in Maricopa County, and that's terrorizing and separating our community.
We grew up loving this country, loving everything about this country. We've got I think the number's up to 170 nationalities that have been identified and coming across that border. Some from countries of interest, meaning they harbor, aid, abet, or somehow were involved in terrorist organizations. So it's pretty dangerous. The feds could never enforce this by themselves. You're going to have to engage the 800,000 police officers in this nation who enforce the law, traffic stop at a time.
Independent Lens airs Monday night at 10 o'clock here on PBS 6. And now to our new weekly segment of what's happening at the Arizona Legislature with Arizona Public Media's Christopher Conover. Christopher, this week, let's start off with a budget, which we ended off on last week. What's the latest there?
Well, last week, as we mentioned, Governor Brewer had just released her budget. So we got the governor's plan, or what she would like the legislature to do, and it includes some long-term looks, some revenue estimates and things like that for the next few fiscal years. This week, the legislature, after taking Monday off for the Martin Luther King holiday, began their week with a joint meeting of the two budget committees, House and Senate, and they heard from the Joint Legislative Budget Committee, basically their accountants and bookkeepers, on the JLBC's estimate for what the financial picture looks like for the coming few years. And it sets up our first big debate of the legislative session between the legislature and the governor. The governor in her budget projects out 3 years to fiscal 2017, and she's projecting about $400 million in surplus in 2017. The JLBC came back, projected out 3 years, said this year, this coming fiscal year, we're fine. Next year, zero. It's a dead balance budget. But for 2017, they're projecting about a $600 million shortfall.
Pretty significant gap. Where does it come from?
That is a very significant gap. The way these numbers are put together is a little bit of guesswork because they're forecasting what will happen over the next few fiscal years. The governor's plan uses some increases in revenue, tax collections. She's not calling for an increase in taxes, but as the economy improves, more taxes getting paid. She also has less spending projected out over the next few years than the JLBC does. The JLBC budget actually is put together by a couple of different groups, and it's a compilation including some professors at the University of Arizona. So a little different set of numbers.
Are we likely to see the legislature take any money from areas where the governor wanted to pump more money into, for example, what used to be CPS?
Absolutely, and this is the interesting debate. Once they settle on how much money they have to work with, they will begin crafting the budget. The legislature is under no obligation to do what the governor wants, and there's plenty of historic precedent for a legislature doing exactly what the governor didn't want. It's up to the governor to sign it, and that's when the real negotiation begins between the two branches of government. And sometimes you even get arguments between the House and Senate before a final budget is sent to the governor and more arguments and negotiating begins.
It'll be interesting to see. Let's move now to election reform. You said that's going to be something that we should have seen this past week, but now we're going to look toward next week for that.
Exactly. Last year, the legislature passed an election reform bill, very controversial, ended up in court, ended up the subject of a petition drive that's getting on the ballot that would pull back or repeal what the legislature did last year. Well, people are worried in the legislature, especially Republicans, that if voters pass that and repeal it, there's no way that the legislature could ever go back in and retweak things, at least for a few years, because this was now a citizen initiative. So what the legislature, the Republicans, are trying to do is repeal that law now themselves. They were supposed to hear it in the House Judiciary Committee. Representative Eddie Farnsworth was sponsoring it, the chair of the Judiciary Committee. The room was full. Everybody was waiting for the fight. He started the meeting and announced that that bill was not being heard this week. The room very quickly emptied. Farnsworth actually joked about it, how quickly the room was emptying, hoping to bring it back next week. They say they're still working on the language.
So they're getting their ducks in a row before they bring everything to the table.
Exactly.
Okay, Christopher Conover, a political correspondent here at Arizona Public Media, thank you for your analysis. And again, I should mention that you will be a regular contributor here on Arizona Week. We'll look forward to your reports. And that does it for this edition of Arizona Week. For more information, log on to our website, news.azpm.org. For all of us here at Arizona Week, I'm Lorraine Rivera.